And here in the earlier societies, there is sexual attraction between the males and females, and there are no rules and regulations here. And as a result of sexual attraction between this individual and this individual, she will become pregnant and she will give birth to what you call one individual, male or female. And as there is no relationship between these two individuals, and here he will go out, because in animals also, because of the sexual attraction, they met together. Then after that, there is no bonding, and that is why this individual will not stay with these individuals. Then after birth of the individual, there is lot of difference between the animals and human societies. Why culture was specific to only human society? Why not in case of animal society? So if you see the calving process, calving means here the act of delivery in case of cattle. Immediately after calving, that is delivery, that is what is called as parturition, the calf will start on its own, it walks, it runs. Then what about the human being, human infant? Immediately after birth, so it will take 1 year to move from one place to other place. That is the difference between the animal, what you call infant, and the animals. That means there is a lot of difference between the animals and also human beings in this context. That means the human infant completely depends upon the mother for each and every activity, in fact for the survival of the individual. Without the support of the mother, the individual, the human infant cannot survive. Whereas in case of animals, there is no what you call such high dependency between the calf and the cow. That is why there is a bond between, there is a strong bond, relationship between the mother and the children. Why? Because till 6 or 7 or 8 or 9 years, and here the individual cannot survive individually without the support of the mother. Whereas animals can live successfully without the support of the parents. That is why the kinship, that means the relationship, was developed initially between the mother and the infant. So that means while she was in pregnancy for a period of 9 months, and here in all these months, in the initial societies are living on hunting and food gathering. And here she has to collect the food grains, or she has to collect the what you call different forest produce, and for that purpose she has to move out in the forest areas, because she was in pregnancy and she needs the support of one more individual, otherwise she cannot survive on its own, on her own. That is why she needs one individual, one male individual who supports her in the difficult circumstances, and slowly one association was developed between one male and one female. That association between the male and female is what is called as marriage, and it developed over a period of time. That means till the development of the marriage as an institution here, she is living with the children, and again she will develop sexual relationship with other individual, and again she will produce. Likewise, mother centered families or groups are living, and all those groups are called as bands. In the band society, then who will have the political authority? In case of our society, modern society, one prime minister is there, president, and a different executive setup is there. Then there is legislature, then is executive, there is judiciary, etc., etc. Then what about the band society? And the society is having simply 20 or 30 or 40 individuals, and all these individuals are close relatives. And as all these individuals are close relatives, and each and every individual is one and the same, that means they are equals. and that particular society is what is called as egalitarian society, wherein all the individuals are equal without any deviation. In case of egalitarian society, then what is the power? Then what is the authority? Then who has to control whom? Here the leadership is there, but the leadership is what is called as situational leadership. Situational leadership means here our leadership is quite different from the leadership existing in the band society. The situational leadership means if this particular group is going for the hunting, then one out of the 30 or 40 individuals, one individual who is expertise in hunting means he knows some of the techniques and he knows where the animals are living, he knows how to hunt the specific animal and all these things. That means the individual who is having expertise in that hunting business will act as a leader in that circumstance, in that situation, and that individual will act as a leader for that moment. And suppose if there is any dispute in the society, and to settle that dispute, one individual is having talent in settling the dispute, and that is what is called as situational leadership in that particular circumstance. Suppose that particular group is going for the food gathering, and one individual knows where the foodstuffs are available, and when they will come to ripen stage, and when they should not take. If they take immaturely, then some of the foods will act as poisonous, and the group should have knowledge in all those situations. That means one individual is supreme in one situation, the other individual is supreme in other situation, and hence according to the situation the leadership varies. In case of our leadership is one and the same in all the circumstances, but that leadership will vary from season to season, situation to situation. So that is why here in the egalitarian society all individuals are similar, equal, then there is no question of superiority or inferiority in that particular group, and here the leadership varies according to the situation. That means here in anthropology we have to study the marriage, we have to study the family, we have to study the kinship, and these are the things which are there in the social cultural anthropology. And here apart from this we have to study all these political systems. That means here there is egalitarian society, then there is a clan society, then there is a tribe society, then there is a modern nation state, then how this evolution had occurred. Then we have to study the different groups and how they are living, how they are sustaining, that means economic aspects. And if you see all these things, then each and every group are specific in relation to all these social cultural institutions. That is why the social cultural anthropology is very easy to all the students who are coming from different backgrounds. Why? Because and they know they might not know the word anthropology, but they know the subject of the marriage. Then here if you see the syllabus, what is marriage? That is there in the syllabus. Then what are the different types of marriage? That is also there, and here everybody knows, because some of the individuals will marry 3 or 4 individuals, that is what is called as polygyny in case of males, and some individual female will marry several individuals. This is what is called as polyandry, and everybody knows all these words. And there is universal existence of marriage. Then why there is universal existence? Because marriage is performing several functions, and if you narrate all those functions, then you will get full marks here. So here why the different students from different backgrounds are selecting anthropology as one of the optional means, because everybody knows the content of anthropology, though they are not aware of the word anthropology, and that is why it is very easy. Then how do you know that the marriage, family, kinship and religion, then economic aspects, then political aspects are different in different societies? Because here some of the anthropologists and they studied different societies at different points of time. This is what is called as field work. So that is why field work was also mentioned in our syllabus. So here generally I will take some 10 days to complete the social cultural anthropology, and here in this I will emphasize, and all the different areas which I have mentioned in this. Suppose all the social cultural institutions, that was the broad head, and another one is field work here. And to develop the what we call as a communication, language is essential. Without language the people cannot live, cannot communicate. So without communication people cannot live. So that is why here language and communication was also included in our syllabus in the broad head social cultural anthropology. And here in anthropology there are three broad aspects. One is the social cultural anthropology, that is what we discussed now, and another one is what is called as biological anthropology, and another one is what you call archaeological anthropology, and another one is linguistic anthropology. Of course, here this biological anthropology is very interesting, and so all these things are there in the paper 1, and here paper 1 carries. So previously it used to carry 300 marks, now it is carrying only 250 marks, and here the people are getting more than 200 marks previously in paper 1 because of the presence of the biological anthropology. And here the biological anthropology questions are very straight, and here you need not what you call invent your answer in the examination hall, and every question can be what you call you can predict the question based on the previous questions. Then here the answers are very straight, and hence the people are getting good marks in paper 1 because of the presence of biological anthropology. And here generally I will take 30 to 40 sessions. Each session is of 2 hours duration, and to complete the physical anthropology, otherwise called as biological anthropology. And here the students should attend all the classes without any deviation, because if you are absent for one class in biological anthropology, one bunch will be over. Because here in biological anthropology, so we have to connect the different areas mentioned in the syllabus, because the syllabus was not properly organized, and here there are number of connections you have to develop, and according to that connections you have to prepare. And if you miss any class, and you will miss the connection, and you cannot write the qualitative answer, especially in biological anthropology. And here I observed the difficulties among the science students in writing the biological anthropology, and the art students and engineering students are getting more marks in biological anthropology, because here the art student will not read any other material other than the class notes, because he know only the material which I dealt in the class, that's all. Whereas in case of the people who are coming from the biotechnology or medicine or whatever the science background, and here they know the what you call the depth of the topic, here the depth is not essential, that is what you have to understand. And here the depth is not essential. For example, here in biological anthropology, DNA replication was given. DNA replication was given, and here in the class I will take 15 to 20 minutes to explain the process of DNA replication, and here I will show one video in relation to the DNA replication. Then if you remember, there are 5 enzymes, and you have to remember the functions of the 5 enzymes in the DNA replication, that is more than sufficient. But in the molecular genetics, and here we can teach the DNA replication for nearly 2 days or 3 days or 4 days. And here the biotechnology student will know more knowledge in relation to the DNA replication, and he will stuck up in one area, okay, and he will write number of things in DNA replication, but their time is not sufficient to write the other questions, and hence finally the science students are not getting full marks, who are what you call they are overemphasizing the topics. And here this is anthropology subject, and you need not go deep into the subject, and superficially you have to know, and you have to apply that into the society. And why this DNA replication was given in our anthropology, you have to understand. And sickle cell anemia was there. And you should not go to the details of the medicine, and you have to apply that to the society and culture. So that means here the biology students, if they are limited to the anthropology, then they will get very good marks and they can score more than 80% in paper 1 because of the biological anthropology. If they concentrate more on the science aspect, pure science aspect, then they cannot get the good marks. That is why engineering students and the art students are getting good marks in relation to this paper 1. Why? Because they are limited to the class notes, that's all. And they will write those 5 points, then the corresponding functions, and they will get full marks, but not the science students. And this is the caution you have to take before entering into anthropology. Anthropology is, it is a science, it is a part science and a part social subject. And you should not overemphasize the topics which were mentioned in the syllabus. And here we have to compensate both. And if you write pure science in anthropology, then you will not get good marks. That is what you have to remember in this. So, in the biological anthropology, my dear friends, here each and every topic is very, very interesting, and it starts from the what you call evolution aspect. And here, so the biological evolution was given in detail, and it was mentioned from 1.4 to 1.8 in the syllabus. And here, and some of the what you call individuals who are propagating against anthropology, they are telling that the anthropology syllabus is very vast, but here this is not so. I will explain here why it is not so. That means 1.4 to 1.8 is dealing with what you call Darwinian theories, pre-Darwinian theories, post-Darwinian theories, then evolutionary principles, then primates and different headings primates, then human evolution. He has given, this is one chapter, this is another chapter, this is another chapter, this is another chapter. He has given what are the pre-Darwinian theories you have to read in the syllabus. He has mentioned very clearly. That means here, and he has given the post-Darwinian theories. There are several 8 post-Darwinian theories are there. And all those post-Darwinian theories were not mentioned in the syllabus. Only one theory was mentioned, that is what is called as synthetic theory of evolution. And you have to understand that. And here in the human evolution aspect, for the development of the human beings, here my dear friends, the humans were not evolved in single day or year. And human evolution is a very big process. And here we came from the monkeys, and this is monkey population. The environment was changed, and some of the monkeys were changed according to the environment, and they became apes. And the other monkeys who has not changed, living even now as monkeys. And the monkeys who changed according to the environment, living as apes. Then again, if you take the ape population, and the apes are also not similar. There are different varieties of apes. Apes means your chimpanzee, then gibbons, etc., gorilla, all these are apes. And apes are not one and the same. Some of the apes, they change it to Australopithecus. Australopithecus. And here, even now, some of the apes who has not changed their characters are still living as apes. And Australopithecus, and there are 2 varieties. One is the smart variety called as gracilis, and another is robust variety. And here the robust variety individuals could not survive in the harsh environmental conditions, because you know that by this time the entire earth witnessed the Pleistocene changes. That means the most of the earth was covered with ice, and in the icy environment no plant growth, only small creatures are there. And here these Australopithecus individuals, they are highly specialist. Highly specialist in the sense they were strict vegetarians, and they will not take the non-vegetarian diet. But in the environment there is no question of non-vegetarian diet because of the prevailing environmental conditions. And some of the individuals, so that is why they were specialized. Without non-vegetarian, without vegetarian, they will not take the food. How many days? and vegetarian is not available, and hence they became extinct, this robust variety. But this gracile variety, and they were smart, and they have changed their characteristic features according to the environment, and only insects are available in the icy environment, and these gracile individual, they used to take the insects, and hence they could survive because they were not the specialists. And a specialist is the individual and who cannot survive without the conditions. And here this individual is a specialist who could not survive because there is no vegetarian diet that is available, and this individual is a journalist, and here he could survive. Why? Because and he has changed his character according to the environment. That is why he survived into Homo habilis. And again Homo habilis developed into Homo erectus, and again Homo erectus developed into Homo sapiens Neanderthals, and again modern man came into existence from the Homo sapiens Neanderthalensis. And in the Homo sapiens Neanderthalensis also, and here only the Australopithecus individual, and he survived here in East Africa and also South Africa. That means the human evolution had occurred in Africa, and for the first time the Homo erectus individual, and he started moving out of Africa, and the temperatures were very cold, and here he moved till Georgia and southern Europe, and here he could move to China, and he could move to here Indonesia in Java. So that means for the first time the humans were evolved in Africa, and by the time of Homo erectus they moved out of Africa and they moved into southern Europe, China and also Java. And here in the syllabus he mentioned very clearly the Java man, the China man, but not the European man. And here the finer details were given in relation to the Homo erectus. Instead of, he mentioned all these names in the syllabus. He mentioned that Australopithecus, then what is the distribution, what is the characteristic features, what is the phylogeny, etc. Then Homo habilis, then Homo erectus. Within the Homo erectus he has given finer details, that is Homo erectus, Java man and also China man. And within the Homo sapiens Neanderthalensis also. And here by the time of Neanderthal man he moved further north, and here in this England and Ireland, in this area one group is inhabiting, and the other group of Neanderthal is inhabiting in this Central Asia. But again in the last glacial stage the environment was changed, and as the environment was changed in these circumstances, and this particular group who is living here in the Western Europe, they were completely separated, and the temperatures are very they exposed to the severe cold temperatures. But the people who are living in Central Asia, some warm temperatures are seen, and the people who are living in Central Asia are comfortable in comfortable zone, but they are not comfortable, and they survived for some time, nearly 1 million years. And here the Neanderthal people, they developed some of the primitive characteristic features, and hence they tried their level best to survive in the harsh environmental conditions. Finally they could not survive. That means out of the two groups, one group was progressed to the modern man. That group was nothing but the individuals who survived in Central Asia, and the other group, Neanderthal group, and they could not survive, and they were called as classical Neanderthals. That means within the Neanderthals again there are two groups, one is the classical, another one is the progressive, and even this was also mentioned in the syllabus. So that means instead of all these chapters from 1.4 to 1.8, he could mention with only one word, human evolution is sufficient to explain all these things. But within the human evolution, as it was very broad subject, and here the finer details, your confinements, your borders were marked by the examiner here. All these things were given. Suppose without mentioning all these species, for example, there are several intermediary forms. In between Australopithecus and Homo habilis, there are several individuals. and in between Homo erectus and Homo habilis there are several individuals. Here also there are several individuals, and if the examiner has not mentioned all these details, we have to study much more hominid species. As examiner mentioned all these things, then we can what you call limit to only these specimens, fossils which were mentioned in the syllabus. That is the advantage. So here the syllabus seems to be vast, but if you understand properly, the syllabus is not vast. In fact, the examiner is helping you by mentioning the finer details and your limitations and your border areas. And there are a number of connections here. And while studying this biological evolution, and you have to study the cultural evolution. Why? Because here this particular individual, Australopithecus individual, is not having any culture, and here the brain capacity of this Australopithecus individual and apes is no difference, and it is hardly 2 to 300 cc the cranial capacity, and with that cc the brain was not developed, and here whatever the things which are used by the apes and Australopithecus individual is used to use only those. And here if you go to zoo and the ape, suppose for example gorilla or chimpanzee, whatever it is, whatever the natural object which is available in the surroundings, and they will use those natural objects. It may be stick, or it may be a rod, or it may be anything which is naturally available. So in the earlier days, here in case of apes, here in case of Australopithecus individuals, the naturally available objects are nothing but long bones of the what you call animals. Long bones of the animals were used as objects or tools, because here this fellow doesn't know how to manufacture the tools, and here these long bones are acting as tools. And if you see the animal's dentition, and the animal's dentition, the teeth are very large in size, and they used to take the mandible of the what you call animals as tools. Then if you take some of the animals, they are having horns. Horns were also used as tools. That is why here long bones, then teeth, then what you call horns. That is why this particular culture is called as osteodonto-keratic culture. And this individual, he cannot manufacture the tools. He is simply tool user. What is tool means? Tool is nothing but naturally available object. Tool is nothing but naturally available object. It may be long bone, it may be teeth, or it may be horns. Long bones, bones related to osteo. Teeth means relation to donto. Then horns means relation to keratic, osteodonto-keratic culture. He is simply tool user, not tool maker. For the first time, this Homo habilis individual, he manufactured the tools, and here the tools manufactured by this individual are very core tools. The core tools are present here. Core tools means he used to take the what you call boulders, and if you strike the two boulders, one chip will be removed. That is, the removing chip is what is called as flaking, and the removed what you call rocky materials are called as flakes, and there will be a sharp edge. With that sharp edge, they used to skin the animals, and that is a versatile tool, a multi-purpose tool, and they used to remove the flakes, and they are using the what you call the core of the stone. That is why this tool culture is what is called as core tool culture. This tool culture is what is called as core tool culture, and all these core tools were available from old oven gorge in Africa, in Tanzania. So that is why this tool tradition is what is called as old oven tool tradition. Then slowly the brain capacity of the individual increased. By the time of Homo erectus, it is around 900 to 1100 cc, and this individual is 700 cc. This individual is 3 to 500 cc. This is the cranial capacity. And here, as the brain capacity is increasing, and hitherto this particular individual is not at all using these flakes as tools. Now he started using flakes as tools because they are very sharp, and if you throw any flake, then animal will be killed. So that is why these flakes were utilized as tools for the first time by Homo erectus individual. So like this, what you have to do, there is one chapter called as cultural evolution, and this is what comes under biological evolution. While discussing the biological evolution, you have to discuss the cultural aspects of those individuals. Even though they were mentioned in two different chapters, you have to coordinate both, and then your understanding will be increased. And this is what is called as the Paleolithic culture was started by this particular individual, lower Paleolithic, then middle Paleolithic, then upper Paleolithic, then Neolithic, of course, then Mesolithic, Neolithic, then Chalcolithic, and finally after that Bronze Age and Iron Age, then civilization was started. That means here, while you are studying the biological evolution, you have to concentrate on the cultural aspects also. While studying the cultural aspects, you have to concentrate on the biological aspects also, then you have to do combinedly in an integrated manner. So that is what is needed in physical anthropology. If you develop this particular strategy in physical anthropology, it will be completed within no time, then you will get good marks in paper 1. Then of course, my dear friends, here if you apply all these aspects of anthropology onto the Indian society, that is what is called as Indian anthropology. And here the Indian anthropology is nothing but our general studies. And in case of this paper 1 also, in paper 1 we have to study the different biological aspects, different biotechnological aspects, and that is covering in the general studies in civil service science and technology paper, in paper 3 general studies. Okay. Then here if you apply all these biological aspects, social aspects, cultural aspects, linguistic aspects, archaeological aspects onto the Indian society, that is what comes under Indian anthropology, and this is nothing but paper 2. So here my dear friends, in paper 2 in Indian society, in the general studies, in paper 1 general studies, it mentioned very clearly that the Indian society, then the dynamics of Indian culture, all these things were mentioned. You have to understand the Indian society and culture from the beginning. And here there are two aspects in the Indian society. Here one is what is called as a historical period, another one is what is called as the prehistorical period. And here historical period is nothing but the written records are there for the historical period, and prehistorical means no written records. But in case of India, and there is one speciality in the Indian history. Here in relation to the prehistory, of course, there is a Paleolithic, then within the Paleolithic, so there are different varieties, lower Paleolithic culture, then middle Paleolithic culture, then upper Paleolithic culture, then of course Mesolithic culture, Neolithic cultures are there. Then after Neolithic there is Chalcolithic culture, because here metal was introduced. Then after that here Indus Valley came into existence, Indus culture. These Indus people, they are having a script, but that script is, we are not in a position to decipher what is there in that script. That means the basis for the prehistory and historical period is nothing but, available script is nothing but the historical period. If the script is not available, that comes under prehistoric period. And here the speciality of India was, script is available, but we are unable to decipher what is there in the script, and hence this comes under what is called as proto history. Proto history. Proto history is nothing but Indus Valley. And here in the Indian society, so there is a Paleolithic culture here in the South India and all these different places, then followed by the Mesolithic, then Neolithic, and after that Neolithic period is a revolution. In fact, a revolution in the sense, here by the time of Neolithic the people started domesticating animals as well as plants. So that is otherwise called as development of agriculture and development of animal husbandry. And because of the development of agriculture and animal husbandry in this particular area, whenever there is development of animal husbandry and agriculture, generally the surplus will be increased, Whenever there is increased surplus, then what will happen? The surplus always leads to trade, and trade lead to urbanization, and the first urbanization was that this Indus urbanization. Indus. And Indus, that is nothing but the Harappan civilization came into existence in India, in the western part of India. Then what about the remaining part of India? And here urbanization is going on here, civilization is going on here. Then what about the remaining part? The remaining part is nothing but the rural culture. The remaining part is nothing but the rural culture. And here from 2500 to 1500 or 1750 in fact, and this is the what you called as the most important phase in the urbanization of India. Then slowly, because of several factors, this Indus Valley civilization came to an end. And here, one of the most important reason for the ending of this Harappan civilization, or what is called as Indus Valley civilization, was the migration of the Aryans into this area. And Aryans were the rural people. And here, Aryans are responsible for the destruction of the Indus cities. That is why this rural culture was prevailed for some time in India from 1500 BC to what we call 1000 BC in the what is called as Sapta Sindhu region. So after this, they stayed there here for 500 years. Then they established Hinduism here in the Sapta Sindhu region. Then slowly they moved down to the Gangetic basin, and here they lived from 1000 BC to 600 BC. And within this, the Hinduism was quite popularized. And all the bad characteristic features of Hindu society are seen by this time within these 600 years, within these 400 years here. And because of all those things, and the segmentation was seen in the Indian society, and the upper one is the Brahmins, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and also Shudras. And here the Brahmins were supreme and Kshatriyas were the rulers, and Vaishyas are supporting both these two groups, and the Shudras has to support all these individuals. And apart from that, the Shudras were not given moksha in the Hindu religion. Why they have not given moksha in the Hindu religion means here, and to get moksha in the Hindu religion, every individual should perform at least 16 sacrifices from the birth to the death of the individual, even before birth of the individual in the Garbhadana. Then out of these 16 rituals or sacrifices, and one of the most important ritual was Upanayana. And here, and this Upanayana was not possible for the Sudras. And here for the Sudras, Upanayana was not acceptable by the Hindu society. And not only Sudras, the women from these higher society, higher Varnas were also should not take Upanayana function, and hence they can perform only 15. That means the women of all the Varnas and Sudras, they will not get moksha. And that is why here these Sudras and also women from upper society are in frustration. Okay. And here the Vaishyas, and they were the what you call, they were the monarchs in the economic front. The entire economic power of the country was vested with the Vaishyas, but in the hierarchy system they were given only the third place, and they were not happy in this connection. And the Kshatriyas were the rulers, they were the protectors, and in spite of that they could not given sufficient position in the Varna hierarchy. And under these circumstances, as there are different or difficult situations in Hinduism, and slowly number of individuals starting arguing with the larger society, and they started questioning the broader society, that means Hindu society, in the form of several religious revolutions. Nearly 62 religious sects were started in India to counter the Hindu domination. Under these circumstances, all these individuals, the Shudras, the women, Vaishyas, Kshatriyas, and they followed two important religions here, and one was called as Jainism and another one was Buddhism. And here all these individuals, they were in frustration and they want moksha, and Jainism told that, and here you should not perform any sacrifice to get moksha in the Jainism. And the only the only criteria was you have to follow ahimsa, then you will get automatic moksha, and there is no this hierarchy business and this sacrifice business in Jainism. And here Buddhism also told very clearly that, and the individuals all sorrows are because of desires. Then if you don't have any desire, then ultimately you will get moksha through Ashtanga Marga. So that was the theme they have given. So that means here the people can get moksha without performing all these 16 sacrifices, and hence people left Hinduism and they started following the other heterodox religious sects which were started by 6th century BC in the Indian society. And here in anthropology we have to study the impact of what is called as the Aryans on the broader society. Then what is the impact of Buddhism on Indian society? What is the impact of Jainism on Indian society? And under these circumstances, Christianity also came initially in the 1st century AD, and it survived in the Malabar coast, but later on in the form of Europeans, maybe Portuguese, maybe Dutch, maybe English, maybe French, etc., etc. They arrived into the India and they were all Christians, and they stayed there for nearly 150 years or 200 years. Then and their influence was also there on the Indian society, and hence in anthropology we have to study what is the influence of Christian society on Christianity on the Indian society or Hindu society. Then here under these circumstances, here in 622 AD Islam was born in Makkah and slowly it spread to India, and here by the 1205 they established the political rule, and they stayed there till 1707, till the death of Aurangzeb in the Indian society. That means for nearly 500 years they ruled India. That is why their influence was also there on Indian society. We have to study what is the influence of Islam on Indian society. That means here if you see all these things, and there are number of problems in the Hindu society. And the Hindu society was initially under the influence of Jainism, Buddhism, Christianity, Islam, and most of the people are moving from the lower rungs to the other religion. Then the Hindu philosophers started thinking on this, and they want to revive the Hinduism, and the Hinduism was also revived in North India and also South India. And in South India it was revived in the form of Alvars and Nainars, and in the North India this was revived in the form of Bhagavatism. And what this Bhagavatism told? Bhagavatism told very clearly that that is nothing but the first bhakti movement, and here, and you need not perform all these 16 sacrifices, and here if you develop the love and affection towards Krishna and his family, then you will get automatic moksha. That was the concept of what is called as Bhagavatism. And here in Bhagavatism there are only 5 gods, then Lord Krishna, his brother Balarama, and 2 sons, then 1 grandson of Krishna, and this is what is called as Pancharatra cult. And here bhakti movement was given, and bhakti, if you develop bhakti towards Lord Krishna and his family, then you will get automatic moksha without performing all these rituals or sacrifices in Hinduism. And in the later days, during the time of medieval India, and bhakti movement was started, and throughout India it spreads. Bhakti movement means, and it was extension of the Bhagavatism. Not only Krishna, if you develop love and affection towards any god, then you will get moksha, not only Krishna. That was the difference between the Bhagavatism and Bhakti movement. So in this connection, the Hindu philosophers also started thinking on the revival of the Hinduism, and here they started what is called as attracting the people who went to the other religions into the Hindu fold. That is why this Bhakti movement was started. Similarly, the Islam was also in India, and Hindu influence was also seen on Islamism, and Hindu society influenced Islam society, and a number of characters from Hindu society are also seen, including this stratification. Including this stratification means the Islam society was initially based against the idolatry, and it was based on what we call as universal brotherhood. There is no difference between one individual and another individual, and if you see the Islam society in India, there are Turkish people who are on the top, and there are Afghans who are at the bottom, then Habsis, Sheikh Jadas. There are different sectors, different groups of people are there, and there was also hierarchy that was developed, and originally that was not the characteristic feature of what is called as Islam society. And here the bad characters were not only limited to the Hinduism, but they were also seen in Islam, and some of the progressive Islamists, they started one movement in India, that is what is called as a Sufi movement in Islam. So, Bhakti movement in case of Hinduism is just like the Sufi movement in case of Islam. So, that means here in the religion, several dynamics taken place in the Indian history from the ancient, then through the medieval, then through modern India. If you come to modern India, in all these religions, especially here in Hinduism and what we call Christianity and also Islam, socio-religious reform movements were started by the time of modern India, and the socio-religious reform movement was also based on the very, very bad characteristic features of those concerned religions, traditional orthodox characteristic features. They were against the orthodox characters or traditional characters. So, in anthropology, here we have to concentrate how the Indian society was influenced by all these religious groups from time to time, from the ancient to the modern. We have to study so that you can develop one opinion on the entire Indian society. That will be very, very helpful for you to write the qualitative essay in the general essay paper, which was given for 250 marks. And if you study the Indian society is nothing but the Indian villages on one hand and Indian tribes and welfare groups on the other hand. If you see the Indian society, Indian villages, and in Indian, each and every Indian village is dominated by the agriculture. You have to study and what is the characteristic feature of agriculture, how it is contributing to the growth and development of the country, then what are the different land reforms here which were taken place after independence. Then you have to study the influence of all these things. Then number of individuals studied what you call Indian villages, then you have to concentrate on the villages here. Then here there are different phenomena, caste is going on. Then here you have to study what is the role of the caste in Indian politics, what is the role of caste in Indian economy, whether the caste will survive or not. We have to study the future of the caste system. Then here the Indian village is also undergoing a number of changes because of the Western influence in the process of Westernization. And here some of the lower caste people or lower Varna people, they are following the higher Varnas. That process is what is called as Sanskritization. And some of the Sudras, they are following Brahmins. That is what is called as a Brahmanic model. Some of the Sudras, they are following Kshatriyas. That is what is called as the Kshatriya model. Some of the Sudras are following Vaishyas. That is what is called as Vaishya model. And some of the untouchables are here and they are following the Shudras, and that is what is called as Shudra model here. That means this term was given by M.N. Srinivas. That means here all these changes are occurring in the Indian society, and these changes are because of external influence, that is Western influence, or within the India. By seeing the Brahmins, some of the lower caste people are changing. By seeing the Kshatriyas, some of the lower caste people are changing. So by seeing the Vaishyas, some are changing. So like this you have to study. You have to understand the broad perspectives of Indian society in this context. And here, apart from the Indian villages, you have to study the different what you call different groups. Apart from these Indian villages, if you see the India broadly, and there are STs, SCs, then OBCs. And here all these different groups of people are facing, from the beginning they are facing specific problems, and all these individuals are facing specific problems. Then by identifying all these problems, while framing the constitution itself, the constitutional experts, so they have given importance to all these sections, and they gave certain provisions in the constitution itself for the protection and for the welfare, for the development of STs, SCs and OBCs. Then after the constitution came into existence, then the government of India, from time to time, they established several institutions to develop these sections of people, and they enacted several laws in the parliament, so for the welfare and development and growth of these people. And here in this connection we have to study what are those institutions which were meant for the SCs, then what are those institutions meant for the SCs and for the OBCs, and what are the constitutional provisions mentioned. Then what are the different acts which were mentioned for the protection and welfare of these sections, and how far they are working. We have to see the working of all these different institutions, then laws, then constitutional provisions we have to discuss in Anthropology paper 2. And here there are democratic institutions, for example Panchayat Raj 73rd and 74th amendment. Then what is the impact of all these democratic institutions in this connection we have to study. Then here the media at length is influencing the different sections of the Indian society. Then we have to discuss the role of media, the role of women, the role of SHGs, self-help groups also we have to discuss, because for the eradication of the poverty among all these sections, we have to study how to eradicate the poverty among all these sections. Then the government of India is favoring for the formation of the self-help groups, and through which it can be eradicated. So we have to study the role of SHGs. And here these are all the different government initiatives for the growth and welfare and development of these sections. Apart from the NGOs, apart from the government, NGOs are also working for the welfare and development of these people. Okay, and we have to discuss what is the role of the NGOs in this connection. And not only NGOs, there are several individuals. For example, Bill Gates has donated several billions for the welfare and development of the poor people. We have to discuss who are the individuals who are working for the welfare and development. And there are some institutions who are showing interest, then we have to study all these things. Apart from the role of the NGOs and the government, here there is communalism and there is regionalism, and here there are a number of problems in the Indian society, and we have to study all these problems from the perspective of anthropology. So here, there are several topics which I mentioned in paper 2 are there in what you call paper 1, paper 2, paper 3 and paper 4 of anthropology, paper 4 of general studies. That is why anthropology is very, very helpful to score good marks in general studies as well as general essay, and hence anthropology is the best option for the civil service. Thank you.
Okay, good evening friends. My name is Krishna. Today we are going to discuss about some speed techniques of mathematics, which are very useful to do the sums in less time, and also useful for all the competitive exams, otherwise for group 1 prelims and group 2 exams, and not only for these two, for also the remaining competitive exams like banks, SSC and all other exams. Okay. ఇప్పుడు ప్రతి సమ్ తీసుకుంటే మనకి దానిలో 3 పార్ట్స్ ఉంటాయి. ఫస్ట్ పార్ట్ వచ్చి రీడింగ్ అండ్ అండర్స్టాండింగ్, రెండవది ప్రాసెస్, మూడవది ప్రాసెస్, మూడవది సింప్లిఫికేషన్. ఓకే, reading and understanding, process and simplification. In all competitive exams, you will have only 30 to 40 seconds to answer each and every question. That means in 30 to 45 seconds, we should answer this. In 30 to 45 seconds, we should analyze a sum after reading that, and we should get the process of it, and after that we should get the simplification, and immediately after that another thing is needed, very essential one. What is that? Shading. For this shading also we should give some time. That means at least 3 to 5 seconds. Okay. In how many seconds we can finish the reading and understanding? And after that for process, that is followed by simplification. So దీని అంతటి కోసం మనం సపోజ్ సింప్లిఫికేషన్ వరకు తీసుకుంటే సింప్లిఫికేషన్లో వీక్గా ఉన్నటువంటి పర్సన్కి మొత్తం 30 to 45 సెకండ్స్ ఇక్కడే వేస్ట్ చేసేటువంటి అవకాశం ఉంటుంది. అదే సింప్లిఫికేషన్ ఫాస్ట్గా ఉన్న వ్యక్తికి ఈ 30 to 45 సెకండ్స్ కూడా అవసరం ఉండదు, అంతకన్నా తక్కువ టైంలోనే ఫినిష్ చేసే అవకాశం ఉంటుంది. సో వాట్ ఆర్ ద సింప్లిఫైయింగ్ టెక్నిక్స్? వీఆర్ గోయింగ్ టు డిస్కస్ అబౌట్ దోస్. ఫస్ట్ ఆఫ్ ఆల్, when are doing addition, suppose we are taking one example 38 plus 42. దీనికోసం మనం ఒక వెర్టికల్ ప్రాసెస్ని అప్లై చేస్తాం. 38 plus 42. 38 plus 42 is 3 plus 8 plus 2 10, 1 remainder, 1 plus 3 4 plus 4 8. 80 is the answer. దీనికన్నా మనం ఒకవేళ హారిజాంటల్ ప్రాసెస్ అప్లై చేస్తే కనుక దీన్ని లెస్ టైంలో, అంటే ఇక్కడ తీసుకున్న టైం కన్నా 1/3 ఆఫ్ ద టైంలోనే దీన్ని ఫినిష్ చేసేటువంటి ఛాన్సెస్ మనకు ఉంటాయి. అవేంటంటే 30 plus 40 70, 8 plus 2 10, 70 plus 10 80, లైక్ దట్. ఓకే. ఇదే కాకుండా ఒక మల్టిప్లికేషన్ మనం తీసుకున్నట్లయితే మల్టిప్లికేషన్లో 38 into 5 చేయాలంటే కనుక యాక్చువల్ మనం అప్లై చేసే ప్రాసెస్ 5 8s are 40, 0 4 రిమైనింగ్, 5 3s are 15 plus 4 19. ఇది జనరల్గా చేసే యాక్చువల్ ప్రాసెస్. దీనికే కనుక మనం ఒకవేళ టెక్నిక్ అప్లై చేస్తే కనుక 38లో హాఫ్ వచ్చి 19, హాఫ్ ఆఫ్ 38 ఈజ్ 19. దీని పక్కన ఒక 0 మనం పెడితే ఆన్సర్ అయిపోతుంది. దట్ ఈస్ ద సింప్లిఫికేషన్ టెక్నిక్ ఫర్ 5. In the same way, the simplification technique for 25. Suppose to do 48 into 25, we will apply this process. 5 8s are 40. Next, 5 4s are 20 plus 4 24. 2 8s are 16 1. 2 4s are 8 plus 1 9. 0 0. 4 plus 6 10 means 0. 1 remaining. 9 plus 1 10 plus 2 12. 1200 is the answer. Okay. For this thing, the technique is divide 48 by 4. Divide 48 by 4. Then how many times 4 will cancel here? 12 times. And write 2 zeros followed that. That is the technique for 25. Okay. There is a simple method involved in this. 48 into 25 can be written as 100 by 4. 28 can be written as 100 by 4. 4 cancelled for 12 times here, that is 1200. Okay. In the same way, we can apply so many techniques regarding multiplication, addition, subtraction and division. Okay. Suppose when we are doing the multiplication of decimals, suppose if we take 4.5 into 12, the actual process is 45 into 12, 2 5s are 10, 2 4s are 8 plus 1 9, again 1 5s are 5, 1 4s are 4, 0, 9 plus 5 14, 1, so 540 is the answer. After that, after decimal 1 digit is there, so here also you should get decimal after 1 digit. Okay, the answer is 54. Here our technique is double 4.5. Double 4.5, that means 9. and immediately get the half of 12. 6. 9 6 are 54 is the answer for this. Okay. ఇదే విధంగా మనం కొన్ని టెక్నిక్స్ కనుక అప్లై చేస్తూ ఉంటే ఇక్కడ ఉన్నటువంటి సింప్లిఫికేషన్కి తీసుకునేటువంటి టైం మనం చాలా తక్కువ టైంలో చేసే అవకాశం ఉంటుంది. సో సింప్లిఫికేషన్ ఎప్పుడైతే మనం ఫాస్ట్గా ఒక పర్ఫెక్ట్ మేనర్లో చేయడం మొదలుపెట్టామో ఆటోమేటిక్గా సమ్ మీద ఇంట్రెస్ట్ పెరుగుతుంది. రీడింగ్ అండ్ అండర్స్టాండింగ్ కానీ ప్రాసెస్ కానీ మనకి క్లియర్గా అవగాహన రావడం జరుగుతుంది. ఓకే. ఇట్లానే మల్టిప్లికేషన్కి వచ్చేసరికి 2 డిజిట్ మల్టిప్లికేషన్కి వచ్చేసరికి యూజువల్గా మనందరం చేసేటువంటి ప్రాసెస్ 48 into 24. సపోజ్ దీన్ని మనం చేయాలంటే ప్రాసెస్ 4 8s are 32, 3 remaining, 4 4s are 16 plus 3 19, again 2 8s are 16, 1 2 4s are 8 plus 1 9. The answer is 9 plus 6 15, 1152. This is our traditional method. Okay. Apart from this, we can use this process 48 into 24, 8 into 4, 8 4s are 32, 3 remaining, 4 4s are 16 plus 3 2s are 16, 16 plus 16, 32 plus 3, 35, 3 remaining again. 4 2s are 8 plus 3, 11, 1152 is the answer. Seconds to this process, then you will take only 5 seconds to this process. That means you are saving 2/3 of the time. You are saving 2/3 of the time. In just 1/3 of the previous time, you are doing the same sum with same accuracy. Okay. The same when the digits are, the 2 digit numbers are nearer to 100, then we can apply some Vedic techniques. Vedic techniques means which are from our Vedas. Suppose if you want to do 98 into 97, 98 into 97. Suppose if you apply our traditional process, that will take more time. Okay. That means 8 7s are 56, 5 remaining, 7 9s are 63 plus 5, 68, 9 8s are 72, 7 remaining, 9 9s are 81 plus 7, 88. The answer is 6 0. 1 means 8 plus 1 9 plus 6 15, 9506 is the answer. Here we took some more time. So if you apply the Vedic process here 98 into 97, to apply this Vedic process, take 100 as the base. Take 100 as the base. This 98 is 2 less than 100. So write minus 2 there. This 98 is 2 less than 100. And this 97 is 3 less than 100. Now subtract 3 from 98. Subtract 3 from 98 or subtract 2 from 97. Cross subtraction in any way as you like. That means subtract 3 from 98 or subtract 2 from 97. Both the results will be same. What is that? 98 minus 3 is 95. Okay. This part came. The first 2 digits came. Okay. What about next 2 digits? 0, 6. How can we get those digits 0, 6? 2 3s are 6. But here in our base, how many zeros are there? 2 zeros are there. That means after this slash, write 2 digits. Actually 2 3s are 6 only. So write that as 0, 6. This will be 9506. This is from our traditional method. This is from Vedic method. Okay.